What's up, my knife people of YouTube? Okay, today we're going to test my neighbor's 533 clone. It's not a counterfeit, I guess, because it's not marked, but it is. Have no idea what steel this stuff's in. He wanted me to cut test it and just see how bad it is, so here we go. Starting out on a 1000 grit edge. It's finished on 5 passes per side on a 1 micron diamond strop. It is razor sharp. Let's see how quickly this thing gives up its edge. Hell, it might not be that bad. I really have no clue. It's a beautiful edge. Razor sharp. Absolutely hair popping. Really have no idea how long it'll go. Now, what I will say is on the stones, it is very soft. Like, I have some 1050 that's at like 55 HRC, and this steel feels softer than it does. So I have no idea. All I can tell you is that it forms a really nasty burr that's super gummy and does not want to let go. You can tell it's a very poorly done steel, and very likely the composition is terrible as well. I have no clue what it is. It's not marked. Even if it was marked, you really can't believe it. I'm going to assume it's 7CR or 8CR probably. Could be some like 420A type analog. Could be something like that. I really have no idea. Cut test will give us some valuable information and see how bad it is. Alrighty, on to the cut test. So the counterfeit that my neighbor bought of this bugout did 131.5 feet. I really have no idea what steel this is in, and this technically isn't a counterfeit. It's just a clone because it's not marked. But I have no idea what steel this is said to be. I'm going to assume that it's 3CR. Or possibly 5CR. That's just very poorly done. This is around what, like a Gerber 3CR will pretty much cut. Like Gerber or Kershaw 3CR will pretty much cut right around this, between 120 and 150 feet. So I'm assuming this is 3CR. So when you hear the people say, oh, you know, these counterfeits are so much, you know, they're so much cheaper, they're just as good as the real thing, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, that's highly incorrect. Going from a literal hair whittling 1000 grit Koramaku edge to tearing paper in 131 feet. Yeah, that's pretty terrible. S30V from Benchmade would do probably 7 times, maybe 8 times that, and probably about 7 times actually. It'll do right around 900 to 1,000 feet, but as you can see, this edge is done for. And not to mention, normally the edges are still quite sharp after the test. This edge is absolutely cooked. Yeah, this edge is clearly dulled. That's how I knew. I could feel the edge just give up on that last piece of cardboard. About 15 cuts into it, I could just feel the edge get worse and worse and worse each cut. Normally it's catches. It'll just be like a little catch that'll cause it to tear the paper when I call the test. This is not that. This edge is totally dull. Like, it's dull. It went from sharp to dull in literally just a couple feet. Once that steel had fatigued to the point to where at probably about 120 feet, it had basically fatigued to the point that it was at its failure, and just a couple more cuts and it went from steel sharp to dull almost instantly. 10 cuts. Even the Rough Rider steels, as bad as they performed, they didn't dull like that. They still stayed relatively sharp. They just developed catches and you know, roughly around the same amount of cardboard. But this did not do that. This just, normally a couple passes on a strop after these tests will bring the edges right back to shaving hair. This is not. You're not bringing this edge back on a strop. You might, like, you'd have to take it to a ceramic rod and put a micro bevel to get this edge back. That steel is done for. It's totally blunted. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, see, I can see it with my naked eye. You just can't see it on the camera, but yes, that steel right there is just blunted. This is why you don't, this stuff is garbage. It may look cool, it may look similar, it may look, you know, it may have the appearance that you want and the price that you want, but don't be fooled into thinking that they're even remotely close to the real thing. They're not. This is a very, very low performance steel. Will it cut? Yes. Will it cut for very long? No. And if you're doing any type of cutting that is putting a lot of structural load on the apex, it's just going to crush, and you're not going to get no edge retention at all out of it. This cardboard dulls by abrasion, and that's why it doesn't take knives from sharp to rounded over filling very quickly. Because it slowly abrades that steel away. Is where this just kind of crushed, just crushed basically. The edge just kind of fails. Think of this steel like a wire edge, basically. That's basically what it is. If you had like a wire edge on some D2 or something like that, and it cuts good, oh, totally dull. That's basically what this steel is doing. Yeah, that's just very, very poor performance stuff. So don't think you're getting very much for your money. The only value in this knife right here is in this carbon. Past that, it's garbage. All right, guys.